Have you ever looked around and felt like the people in your life just don't see things the way you do? Maybe you've come across certain women whose choices and perspectives make you pause, wondering what's really driving their decisions. But here's the important part. Recognizing these patterns isn't about judging others. It's about protecting your peace, avoiding unnecessary complications, and making wiser choices in relationships. And trust me, by the time this video ends, you might see things in a way that completely shifts how you approach love and connection. Before we dive in, take a second to subscribe and hit that like button if you're ready to unlock the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Stay with me until the end. What you're about to learn might just be the wake-up call you've been waiting for. Now picture this. You meet someone in a setting that's completely new to you. She's captivating, beautiful, charming, and fun to be around. At first, everything feels effortless, almost perfect. But over time, small things start to add up. You begin to notice behaviors that don't quite align with the deeper values you hold. It's not about how intelligent she appears on the surface. It's about whether she possesses the qualities that truly matter: self-awareness, wisdom, and emotional depth. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, once said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." In other words, the choices we make right now, especially in the people we allow into our lives, will shape our future. So, what are the key signs that a woman might be naive in a way that could affect your relationship? Let's break it down, one step at a time. Sign number 1. She thrives on drama. Have you ever been in a relationship that felt like an emotional roller coaster? One moment, everything seems fine, and the next, you're caught in an argument over something as small as a delayed text. You start questioning why things always feel so difficult. The truth is, some people, both women and men, seem to create chaos even when there's no real reason for it. It's almost as if they can't go through life without some kind of emotional turbulence. But here's the thing. A relationship isn't meant to be a constant source of stress or confusion. A wise woman understands that true power isn't found in anger over trivial matters, but in maintaining inner peace. A relationship built on unnecessary drama isn't love, it's a trap. Now, think back to your own romantic experiences. Have you ever dated someone who always found something to be upset about? Maybe she'd get frustrated if you didn't reply to a message within minutes. Or worse, if you did respond quickly, she might accuse you of being too available or not caring enough. Perhaps she felt uneasy when you went out with friends, leading to passive-aggressive comments, silent treatments, or full-blown arguments. At first, you may have dismissed it as her just being sensitive, but over time, it became exhausting. So why does this happen? For some, drama is a way to seek attention. If things are calm, they feel something is missing. They've become so accustomed to chaos that peace feels unnatural. And before you realize it, you're caught in a cycle, one where broken promises and constant emotional highs and lows are mistaken for passion. But ask yourself, is this really the kind of relationship I want? Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic thinkers, reminds us that our power lies in controlling our minds, not in trying to change external circumstances. When you understand this, you reclaim your strength. A wise woman knows that love should be a place of refuge, not a battlefield. If you find yourself constantly defending actions you never took, walking on eggshells to avoid setting off an argument, or feeling emotionally drained instead of fulfilled, it may be time to reconsider the relationship. And if you're sitting there thinking, Wow, this sounds just like my last relationship. Know this: you're not alone. Many people have been there. The key is recognizing the pattern and breaking free before it consumes you. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a relationship where drama felt unnecessary? Share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Sign number 2, she can't take responsibility. Let me paint a picture for you. You're in a relationship and everything seems to be going well until it's not. Maybe it starts with a small disagreement or something more serious, like a breakdown in communication. Instead of sitting down to talk things through, she immediately jumps to conclusions and says, "It's not my fault. You should have known better." Sound familiar? If so, you already know how exhausting it is to be with someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions. It's always someone else's fault. Her parents, her bosses, her exes, or even yours. But here's the harsh truth. If she can't own up to her mistakes, your relationship is stuck. It will never grow into something healthy and fulfilling. Let's be honest, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But what separates the wise from the foolish is the ability to recognize those mistakes, reflect on them, and move forward. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from self-awareness. As the philosopher Epictetus put it, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. Instead of learning from her failures, a woman with a victim mentality will always find a way to blame others. No matter how bad things get, she refuses to acknowledge her role in the situation. And if you stay in that relationship long enough, you'll find yourself carrying the weight of problems that were never yours to begin with. Does this sound draining to you? Think back to past relationships. Have you ever been with someone who struggled to say, "I was wrong"? How did it make you feel? Frustrated, unappreciated, exhausted? That's because accountability is the foundation of a healthy relationship. A mature, emotionally strong woman doesn't run from responsibility. She acknowledges when she's wrong, apologizes sincerely, and takes steps to do better. That's not weakness, it's strength. And if you find someone like that, you've found a partner worth building a life with. On the other hand, if the person you're with refuses to take responsibility for anything, what does that say about your future together? Are you really willing to stay in a relationship where you're the one carrying the emotional burden all the time? Can you truly trust someone who never admits their mistakes? If you've ever dealt with this in a relationship, I'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you found value in this message, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's more wisdom ahead. Sign number 3. She values materialism over character. Have you ever felt like your partner was more interested in what you could provide rather than who you truly are? Maybe at first it felt good to shower her with gifts, take her on romantic dates, and surprise her with luxurious experiences. But as time passed, you started to notice something unsettling. Once you stripped away the expensive dinners, extravagant presents, and lavish trips, there wasn't much left. If you've ever been in a relationship where material wealth was prioritized over honesty, loyalty, and emotional connection, then you know how exhausting it can be. In the beginning, you might convince yourself that she simply has refined taste, or that she deserves nice things. You tell yourself, this is just how relationships work. But deep down, something feels off. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. There's always something bigger, better, or more expensive to chase after. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly valued for who you are? not just for what you can offer. Perhaps she's compared you to others, saying things like, "Why can't we go on vacations like Sarah and her boyfriend? If you really cared about me, you would have bought this for me." At first, you may have brushed it off, but over time, you start to realize that your value in her eyes is directly tied to your wallet, and that's a dangerous place to be. But here's the truth. A wise woman knows that love isn't about material wealth. She values loyalty, emotional connection, and integrity over designer bags and five-star resorts. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that true happiness comes from within, not from external possessions. As Seneca wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." A person who is always chasing more will never be satisfied, no matter how much you give. A woman who values integrity over luxury will appreciate your effort, not just the price tag attached to it. She will cherish the intention behind your actions rather than simply the material benefits they bring. So, ask yourself, does the person you're with truly value you? Or are you just a means to an end? If you've ever felt like financial expectations were the driving force in your relationship, share your thoughts in the comments. You're not alone. Many people have been in the same situation. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on relationships and Stoic wisdom. Sign number 4. She constantly seeks validation. This one is a big deal. Have you ever been with someone who constantly needed reassurance? Maybe you complimented her outfit, and instead of appreciating it, she kept fishing for more praise. Or perhaps she's always posting on social media, not just to share moments, but to chase validation, counting likes, comments, and attention as if they define her worth. At first, it might seem harmless, even charming. After all, who doesn't enjoy a little attention? But over time, it becomes exhausting. No matter how much love and reassurance you give, it's never enough. A woman with low self-esteem is always searching for external approval, hoping it will fill the void inside her. You might think, what's the harm in a little encouragement? But the truth is, no amount of compliments, gifts, or praise will ever be enough for someone who doesn't believe in her own worth. Think about your past relationships. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like no matter how much effort you put in, it was never enough? Maybe she told you that you didn't text her enough, didn't post about her online, or didn't do enough to make her feel special, even when you were right there with her. But true love doesn't require constant approval. Stoic philosophy teaches that real confidence comes from within. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "Stop debating what a good man should be, just be one." In other words, your worth is not determined by the opinions of others, but by your actions. A wise woman understands this. She doesn't need constant validation, not from social media, not from strangers, and not even from you. She knows her worth, and she trusts in the love you give her, even if you don't express it every single moment. But a woman who constantly seeks validation, she will never be satisfied. What she truly craves is a never-ending supply of public praise, Instagram likes, and declarations of love. And over time, this drains your emotional energy, leaving you feeling like your efforts don't matter. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship where you felt more like a performer than a partner, know that you're not alone. Many people end up in situations where they feel like they're being used for emotional validation rather than being valued as an equal. So, pay attention. If you recognize this pattern, understand that it won't change unless you set boundaries. A healthy relationship is a partnership, not a one-sided effort. Have you ever dated someone who constantly needed reassurance because they lacked self-confidence? Share your experience in the comments. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on Stoic philosophy and relationships. Sign number 5. She can't handle criticism. Have you ever felt like you had to walk on eggshells in your relationship? Like even the smallest comment could set off an emotional storm? Picture this. You gently say, "Hey, maybe we should try eating healthier." But instead of taking it as a simple suggestion, she becomes defensive, upset, and completely misinterprets your words. Suddenly, you're not having a conversation. You're dealing with an argument that came out of nowhere. Some people struggle to handle any form of criticism, even when it's meant to be constructive. Instead of listening and reflecting, they react emotionally, turning the discussion into a personal attack. Sound familiar? At first, you might think, maybe I just need to phrase things differently. But over time, you realize it doesn't matter how carefully you choose your words. The reaction is always the same: defensive, emotional, sometimes even manipulative. Before you know it, you're avoiding certain conversations just to keep the peace, afraid that honesty will only lead to another argument. Now, think about your past relationships. When was the last time you tried to genuinely help your partner see things from a different perspective, only to have them get offended and shut you down? The truth is, healthy relationships thrive on growth, and growth only happens when both partners are open to learning from each other. A relationship where one person refuses to hear feedback is like a boat with a hole in it. No matter how much effort you put in, you're sinking slowly. Stoicism teaches us that self-improvement begins with acknowledging our own weaknesses. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." In other words, if someone refuses to accept feedback, they're doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. A wise woman understands that constructive criticism is not an attack, it's an opportunity to improve. She sees feedback as a way to grow, not as an insult. But a woman who can't handle criticism, no matter how much you care about her, she will always take it personally and paint you as the bad guy. And trust me, that gets exhausting. Ask yourself, does this relationship support personal growth? If your partner constantly shuts down your advice, rejects your feedback, and refuses to improve, then it may be time to reflect. Because a relationship that can't handle honesty is a relationship that's stuck in place. Have you ever been with someone who turned every suggestion into an attack? If this resonates with you, share your experience in the comments. And if this made you reflect on your own relationships, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on Stoic philosophy and love. Sign number 6. She lacks self-discipline. This is something people rarely talk about in relationships, but it's incredibly important: self-discipline. Think back to a relationship where your partner had big dreams. She talked about starting a business, getting in shape, or traveling the world. It all sounded inspiring, but when it came time to take action, she always had an excuse. At first, you might not have noticed it. Maybe you even thought, she just needs a little motivation. I'll help her get there. But over time, you realized she never followed through. Whether it was small commitments like waking up early or bigger goals like career advancement, she just didn't have the discipline to make things happen. Does this sound familiar? If you take a moment to reflect on your past relationships, you might see a pattern. When was the last time you felt like you were the one always making things happen? The one who set the goals, stayed committed, and pushed forward, while she was content just coasting along, never putting in the real effort. Relationships require effort from both sides, but when one person lacks discipline, it can feel like you're doing all the work, carrying both your weight and theirs. The Stoics believed that self-mastery, the ability to control one's emotions and actions, is the foundation of a good life. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "You must build up your life action by action and be satisfied if each one achieves its goal." In other words, success and happiness don't come from dreaming or talking about change. They come from consistent action. A wise woman understands this. She knows that true success isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. But a woman who lacks self-discipline, she will talk about her dreams endlessly, but when it's time to act, she always falls short. Being with someone like this can be exhausting, especially if you're someone who thrives on growth and ambition. You might have felt like you were dragging her along, trying to help her move forward, only for her to hold you back with excuses, procrastination, or a lack of commitment. It's like trying to run a race while someone is grabbing onto your ankle. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is this person helping me grow, or are they slowing me down? Am I in a relationship where both of us are building something together, or am I the only one doing the work? The truth is, you can't force someone to be disciplined. They have to want it for themselves. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, and one of those things is who we allow into our lives. A wise man surrounds himself with people who inspire and challenge him to grow, not with those who drain his energy and hold him back. If you've ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were the only one putting in effort, you're not alone. Many people experience this, and recognizing the pattern is the first step toward making better choices. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were doing all the work? Have you noticed a lack of discipline in a partner before? If this resonated with you, share your experience in the comments. And if this made you reflect on your own relationships, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on Stoicism, relationships, and self-improvement.